Good day, I'm Teacher Nafi, and today we'll talk about the assessment for students with exceptional needs, specifically for learners with dyslexia. Well, traditional standardized assessment doesn't fit all the learners' needs, especially those learners with exceptional needs. Therefore, IDEA or Individualized with Disabilities Education Act is established to require the school to create and use alternative assessment methods to accommodate the students with special needs that is struggling with traditional ones. The IEP or Individualized Education Program was created from this act that gives birth to UDL or Universal Design for Learners. This is a framework that offers a more comprehensive structure of personalized educational experience. And all of this is advocating for alternative learning assessments. The alternative learning offers the multiple ways of assessment methods. It is a evaluative instrument that fosters distinct learning path, the needs and strength of the students. And for who specifically do we do the alternative assessment? It is for the learners with exceptional needs, like students with SLD or specific learning disabilities. They are the learners who are struggling in listening, speaking, reading, writing, spelling, or math. But in our presentation, we will focus on one example of this, the dyslexia. Okay, dyslexia is a learning disability that struggles in reading, spelling, and word recognition because of the complexities in brain language processing. So, why it is important for us to do an alternative assessment? Well, since the traditional standardized assessment is challenging for the students with special needs, an accommodation with alternative assessment helps the learners with special needs to have a flexible and inclusive learning experience. The UDL as well paves way to ensure that every student will receive a fair chance of success. And through this, the learners with special needs can demonstrate their knowledge in a way that match their strength, focusing on what they can do rather than can't. Now, as a teacher, how can we construct a content and performance-based assessment that suit for the learners with dyslexia? Well, this is through accommodations and modifications apply within it. For example, dyslexic students struggles in reading and writing. In the task they are required to write, a scribe can help in transcribing their spoken responses, allowing them to demonstrate the knowledge without being limited by writing difficulties. And if they are struggling in pen and paper, keyboard typing can be used, distinct colors, and that allows them to recognize the differences among. And in an assessment like quizzes and tests, text-to-speech application helps them to auditory learn and analyze the questions. And also, teachers read it for them, and it helps them too. And in content-based assessment, when paper and pen requires it, a changes in format can also do. And important words are highlighted, like here you can see the Produktong Pilipino is bolded. There are pictures and less words for them. And a huge fonts allows them a better reading. Another example of content-based assessment is in the true test is that here, yes, we can see and asking alin na nagpapakita ng pagtangkilik ng mga Pilipinong produkto. The nagpapakita and the pagtangkilik Pilipinong produkto are highlighted and bolded for the dyslexic learners able to recognize the words. No? And then the choices, as you can see, aside from the description, there is a pictures that is represented and that also help the dyslexic students. Alright? Next, we have a oral assessment. This can happen between the teacher and students privately when sometimes students want to read aloud because it helps them to understand, and in silent they effectively analyze it. And in performance-based assessment, portfolio can also help to capture the true reasoning ability of the students. It collects their progress over the time. For dyslexic learners, they need extra time for oral reading, and in assessing them, the teacher must focus on their comprehension and content knowledge rather than the spellings and grammars, unless it is needed. And at last, there are a set of criterion here presented. The percentage of for assessing learners with dyslexia. This provides a fair contribution how they can be performed inside of the classroom holistically, where their strength and needs are accommodated through given assessment. All are flexibles to their capabilities. The practical activity written test is both in 30%, but as you can see, there's another detailed assessment like activities that are also added because it's where the learners with dyslexia can also perform well with accommodations and modifications within this task. And therefore, to conclude, the exceptional learners means opportunities for more inclusivity. Thank you for listening. Happy learning. Bye!